Warning, the following audio transmission is based on theory and is intended for entertainment purposes only. It's Doomsday and its affiliates will not be held liable for anything your dumbass does. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome everybody to Safety Sundays. Today is June 3rd, 1837, and joining me for Safety Sundays as always is SafePrep. What's going on, man?
I don't know, man. It just deja vu. Feels like we've done this before.
We have done this before. So for everybody that's out there listening, I'm going to make a commitment to you guys with Safety Sundays to where we're not going to put any ads in these short episodes. I figure they're way too short to be throwing ads in here. So we're going to skip it. We're just going to skip the ads. No ads for these shows because they're so short. I don't buy your stuff anyway, so that's fine. Everybody else does. Anyway, so we left off last week with firearms safety, and I figured since we were kind of leaving on firearms training, we would get into that. But before we do that, man, how's your weekend going?
Went well. We went and saw family in East Tennessee, and the kids are passing childhood diseases back and forth to each other. So
that is so awesome, man. They're building those natural immunities.
Yes, they are.
Speaking of firearm safety, I got a vasectomy on Friday, so now I am shooting blanks.
Shooting blanks! Oh!
Listen, I got to tell you what, for anybody, I'm not like saying everybody needs to go do this, but for anybody out there that's like contemplating getting the vasectomy, I got this done yesterday morning, like late morning, probably around like, 11 o'clock, all right? And here I am the next day. I feel totally fine. I am in very little discomfort. I am totally A-okay. Made it down to the studio, not on any kind of painkillers or anything, just totally fine. So if anybody out there's like, don't do that, man, it's going to hurt, it's scary, just do it. And it's over. It's done. Anyway. And it is a doomsday prep in a way, safe prep, because now I don't have to stock up on prophylactics.
You're saving money.
Exactly. This is a doomsday prep in itself. I'm done trying to repopulate the world, man. Anyway, so firearms training, I wanted to get into this. And honestly, dude, I have to recommend everybody who goes out there and gets their concealed weapons permits. Okay.
I agree.
There's a reason why I feel this way, and it's because when you go and you get that concealed weapons permit, it's going to teach you a lot about what your local rules, laws, and regulations are of where you can carry a firearm, when you could use a firearm, when you would be looking at criminal or civil charges. They're going to educate you when it's okay to use this thing.
That's about 60% of the class. Is all that stuff.
Right. Now, the one downfall to concealed weapons classes is they don't teach a lot of proficiency.
Absolutely.
That's the downfall. So for anybody out there that's thinking to themselves, well, what kind of training should I have? What should I really look for with training? First off, any proficiency training is going to be good. You want to be as proficient as possible with a firearm. You want to be accurate. The last thing you want to do is pull your firearm out and have somebody take it from you, use it against you, or accidentally shoot somebody that isn't the bad guy. All right? That's the big thing.
Absolutely.
There was one big thing I did want to cover, which is I feel is the most important once you knock all these things out, is firearms retention training. Okay? Now, firearms retention training, this is designed to keep your firearm on you so you retain this firearm so it doesn't get into the wrong hands, okay? So when I was in law enforcement training, we actually did things to where if somebody grabbed our gun, we found out a way to lock their hand to our holster, to our gun, and would proceed to beat the shit out of them. So,
Yep.
it's a bad day if you're going for that thing.
Never jokingly try to grab a cop's gun, ever.
No.
That is a bad day.
It's going to be a very, very bad day. So what do you think, man? Because I got a few other things here as far as some firearm stuff, but what do you think?
Well, we're talking to a few different people in the audience, so there may be some of your listeners who, may have reservations about firearms, understand the need to have them, but they don't have like a way into it. They may be single or not raised in a household with firearms, so they've got to overcome that nervousness. And I've told people before on my platforms to find a friend that is into guns and ask them to go to the gun store with you, ask them to go shooting, to to ease into it. I completely agree with Jester on the concealed carry. Most of that class is teaching you local laws, and that's the first part of being safe, because we don't want to get in trouble either. They're basically teaching you how to handle that firearm safely. So basic firearm safety rules, which we covered in the last Safety Sunday. Beyond that, it's really, I don't want guys to think that it's too big of a task to get training. If you've got a favorite gun store, more than likely somebody there, or they'll know somebody who is a firearms instructor. And, protecting yourself as an individual, protecting your family, and protecting your home, there are tactics involved that we talk about muscle memory, right? You need to handle that firearm enough to where you really don't have to think. You feel what you're supposed to do, and you know how you're going to react. And it really takes a lot of effort.
Want to be a guest on the show? Email itsdoomsdaypodcast@gmail.com. That's itsdoomsdaypodcast@gmail.com.
It does. And I mean, SafePrep and I have shot together, and I mean, even when we're out in the woods, like we said last episode, we're still demonstrating safety. We're still going through the motions, making sure we're safe, making sure we got our ears and eyes on, things like that. This is no joke. And if you guys, how SafePrep brought up, if you guys have a friend who's maybe into firearms and they could take you, do understand that some of these friends can be a little bit reluctant, right? Someone new, someone that's green, but don't be intimidated to ask. Still ask. But if you don't have anybody to help you, or you can't find someone at the gun store, or you simply don't have time to go to the range, let me tell you about all these laser training systems they have for sale on the internet now. Have you seen any of these, dude?
I've seen them, and I think all that stuff used to suck, and it doesn't anymore. It actually works.
Right. So they've got literally fake bullets that can go into your gun, that can go to an app on your phone, and you could sit there in your apartment, in your home, and dry fire laser train with your firearm inside your home, okay, or inside your apartment or whatever. This is going to help teach you target acquisition, line of sight, dry fire training. This is great, okay? This is something that I would highly recommend if you're in a position to where you work too much, you can't get to the range, you don't live near a range, you're stuck in the apartment, etc., etc. You can seriously get online. There's a ton of these things available, and you could start training. And I'll tell you what, how you were bringing up how good these things are, there was I didn't know this gentleman, but another firearms instructor did. This guy was a firearms instructor. He got a felony DUI, all right, and he was no longer allowed to possess weapons, all right? But this didn't prevent him from being able to teach, whatever, legal loopholes. So the state allowed him to go teach with a laser firing system, like fake gun, fake, the fake laser bullets, all that stuff. Like, none of it was real, but they allowed him to go do proficiency training with that. So if that doesn't tell you how good these systems have gotten, I don't know what will.
There's so much more to it as well than just shooting. Being able to get that firearm out of however you've got it holstered, because you have to, it has been difficult for me to find where I want to carry as far as concealed carry goes. Cause I got that pooch in the front, down towards where you had the cutting done. But if you go to some of these courses, especially the more, the tactical courses. Tactical is probably a bad word, but self-defense, how to defend yourself should you be attacked. Getting that firearm out of the holster as quickly as possible while also being safe and being able to aim and fire. That's the muscle memory I was talking about earlier. And that, if you get a good instructor, and like I said, if you go to every gun store in your city, guys, and whichever one gives you the best customer service, whichever person's taking care of you, ask them who they recommend for a self-defense firearm instructor.
Now, so just for one more thing I want to point out there, okay? So first off, the NRA does a lot with the training, okay? There's all kinds of different training. There's concealed training. There's basic gun safety. There's all these different things, defensive shooting courses, et cetera, okay? If you get on the NRA's website, if you go to like shootingclasses.com, you could find things local to your area, right? If like, say you have nobody, you can go do these things. Mm-hmm. The one thing I really want to stray you guys away from, okay, are the fucking YouTube instructors. All right? I'm not saying all of them are bad. I'm not saying they all don't know what they're talking about. I'm not saying that they all suck. But they have all been trained in a different way, and they've been trained in person. Physically, someone has trained them. They didn't pop out of the womb knowing how to shoot a gun. They went and took training somewhere in person, and now they're trying to bring it to you on the internet. They can't see your stance. They can't see how you're holding the firearm. This is not the same as going in and physically doing training. So avoid that shit. If you're getting some good safety tips from these online guys, great, but don't let that be your end-all be-all, right?
Absolutely. You've got to. And sometimes with our schedules and with money being tight the way it is, you really have to make it a priority to try to go to the range and shoot and to continue your education with firearms and self-defense. And it takes effort and it takes time, which a lot of us don't have anymore. But you know, if it's a situation where somebody's trying to harm you or your family or get into your house or, God forbid, SHTF, you better know how to handle one and be proficient with it.
Right, exactly. And for those of you guys that are out there, like what SafePrep just said, knowing how to handle it and be proficient with it, put this at the top of your fucking action item list. All right, this should go on top of the action item list. If you're that guy that says, "Hey, I bought a Glock 17 like 4 years ago. I've shot it once at the range when I bought it, and it's been sitting there. And man, I should really look into doing some training." Top of the action item list. Call fucking tomorrow morning on Monday and make some scheduling, get an appointment set up, and start doing your training.
Well, here's the thing. It's not like we're telling people to go to a crappy class where they're going to be miserable. You're going to go learn how to shoot and be awesome.
Right.
You're going to have fun. It's going to be a fun experience.
Right, it is. And listen to the range officers, listen to the instructors, because they will be quick to kick your ass off that range if you start screwing up. But, dude, that's all I got, man. You got anything else to throw in on this?
Nope. Short and sweet. It's so easy. I love it.
Short and sweet, just like a subcompact Glock.
Right.
This is an emergency action message. At approximately 1 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, NORAD is tracking 15 ICBM nuclear missiles inbound to the following cities: Orlando, Miami, Pittsburgh, Dover, Newark, Richland, Philadelphia, New York City, Baltimore, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Boston, Seattle, Detroit. This is an extremely deadly situation. Stay tuned. The next emergency message will be a presidential address.